Hello, fellow cyborgs. Today I'm going to talk to you about 3 books my mom made me read. So, over the last year or so, my mom has tried out a couple books and read them and said, I would like your opinion on these, or I think you would like these and you should read them. And I finally made the priority of doing that in January so I could talk to her about them before she completely forgot what happened in them. So first up is The Lost Man by Jane Harper. I've read The Drive by Jane Harper and I liked it. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. This is set in the deep Australian outback. A brother, one of 3, has been found dead at this landmark gravestone. It has a bit of a history in the family because the brother who was found dead at this gravestone has also painted a famous picture of it, and we're trying to unravel what exactly happened to him and then all of the family secrets. So I did give this 3 out of 5 stars because it was really interesting and the atmosphere was beautifully depicted in the fact that I was thirsty the whole time and felt hot the whole time and felt just the agoraphobic / claustrophobic nature of being so far out in these wide spaces that it takes 4 hours to get to the next person, but also it's socially claustrophobic and the ostracism that happens to one character. And it was pretty darn interesting. And the more I talked about it with my mom, the more I realized that this was a really interesting book. And I think this would be great for book clubs, frankly, because there were so many different foils of characters and what did you think about this? You could really get a good discussion. However, the reading experience wasn't super great for me. It was, it was fine and I liked it, but it wasn't anything that blew my mind. And I just don't think I'm a great mystery reader. I think it will take a really exceptional mystery to keep my attention. My point is this is a great book and I appreciated it less than I should have, but I can't help my feelings. So I do recommend The Lost Man by Jane Harper. It is really quality, but for some reason, I'm just giving it 3 out of 5. If you can understand what's going on in my brain, just let me know. I also read The Number One Ladies Detective Agency by Alexander McCall Smith. This is a pretty famous series. It's set in Botswana and our main character is a lady detective. So my main takeaway from this book and this reading experience was that I could just not shake my uncomfortableness of a white man writing in the perspective of a Black woman and writing about the Botswanan culture, which I think he grew up in, but as a white man, and he's writing about the culture of the Black inhabitants of Botswana. Everything that was written in here that I found kind of interesting, I would second guess and say, but is it true? Is this depicted well? Is this problematic? And I'm not educated enough to know. So I ended up giving this 2 out of 5 stars, not because of that by itself, though that was a huge consideration in the star rating of this. It's also a mystery. My mom reads mysteries and I normally don't. Also just didn't super thrill me. It was fine. It was fine. I didn't love it. It was fine. But if you have opinions on this sort of scenario, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And it was fine. And then we have The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Mary Ann Schaefer and Annie Barrows. So I had this on my physical TBR a couple years ago. I had an old library copy. And I ended up giving it away because it, seemed too much like popular fiction for me and my copy wasn't very nice. Then my mom was gifted this for her birthday a couple years ago and she read it and passed it along to me. I ended up listening to the audiobook, which was enjoyable, and this actually ended up being really good. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. So this is an epistolary novel written and communicated to the reader in forms of letters, and it has to do with the German occupation of Guernsey, the Isle of Guernsey, Isle, in World War II, and then also about the occupants and how they are currently. I thought the epistolary style was just so solidly done. This is how you write epistolary. You don't just write your novel and then put Dear Diary at the top of a chapter and call it epistolary. This really used the medium to good advantage. The characters I also felt were very individual. The audiobook had a multicast narration, which really helped solidify the characters as different people. But I think that also was coming through in the writing as well. And so subtle but very specific characterization was happening. So that was really solid. There's also book discussions in here, and it wasn't heavy-handed. I didn't feel like it was pandering so much to the reader, but it was still really enjoyable. And then again, I have no knowledge of how much of this that is presented as fact was actually factual and how much was the author's, using a fiction, but the information I got about the occupation on Guernsey was so interesting, and it felt like it was really well researched, and it felt like it was respectfully done, and that was just also really solid. In essence, this was just like really good. Like, it did a lot of things just like really good, and the plot also surprised me. Like, I assumed it would go one way and it went a different way, and I was glad that I didn't anticipate it. It was really good. So I should stop being a snob and sticking my nose at popular fiction. So thanks to my mom for forcing me to read those books. It was an interesting adventure. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, continue to be lovely.